I'm gonna be iconic. I'm gonna be iconic.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to EarpConic's first virtual panel. I'm Cat Crimins.
Nailed it.
Good morning, Emily Andras. Welcome to EarpConic.
Thank you. Good morning, Cat Crimins, and everyone else in the world, whether it's morning for you or not, wherever you are.
Exactly. And maybe in the Twitch comments we can find out where people are from. And that will pop up in my little chat screen just for fun.
Oh, fun. Yeah, let me know.
How's Toronto right now, Emily? I know I've heard it's very warm right now.
Yeah, it's so warm. It's tropical. Everybody's just loving it. Everybody totally knows what to do with the snow removal. No, it's very cold. I challenge anyone watching this to tell me if they think they're somewhere colder. But it's a time-honored tradition for Canada that every winter the cold comes around and we act like totally shocked. Like, what the hell is this, man? So, how's
I'm
LA?
shocked. It's great. It's actually I was gonna say it's a little rainy and chilly, but I'm not gonna say that
No,
because
that's all right. That's all right. That's a little rain will shut down LA too, but you guys
yeah,
need it.
that's true, right? Pretty much the same. So, okay, we have people from Germany,
Oh,
from all over the states, Ottawa, Switzerland,
okay.
UK.
Ottawa might have us beat. Ottawa might have us beat. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how cold are you, Ottawa? Okay, do you mind if we talk a little herb?
No, not at all. That's what we're
Okay,
here
great.
for.
And if it's okay, I'd love to talk about some tales from Purgatory, if that's okay.
Love it. Good.
Loved it, by the way.
Great. So glad you did.
What Obviously it's a different medium than what you're used to. How is your storytelling approach different, if any,
Yeah,
anyway?
no problem. It's funny. Audible had really been circling us for a while, which is like such an incredible compliment. They were very aware of the power of the Earpers, the fandom. Um, but I was nervous because, as you know, I'm always trying to juggle and play both sides. I really wanted to make sure I was keeping space for a potential season five or a movie or a special or a smorgasbord, whatever we're calling it these days. So Audible's initial kind of pitch was, well, why don't we just do more like a real season? And I was like, that's a lot of work, and I'm just not sure it's going to work without the visual medium. So then we came back about a year later and said, what about an anthology sort of, setup? There's so many stories, so many plot holes, one might even say, that we can pick up. And so many characters who we love and are adored by the fandom who don't always get their day in the sun. So that really appealed to them and that really appealed to me. I knew that even though I was scared about the medium because it was not visual and you were not going to be seeing the faces of all our gorgeous cast, that at least it would feel fresh enough that the storytelling, because it was going to be so unique, would also match the unique medium. So once we kind of
Hmm.
settled on that, it became a lot less daunting.
Got it. And as you say, there's some characters you got to spotlight that you don't normally have a lot of time to do on the show. What character were you kind of most excited to to dig into in the series?
I mean, I'm excited to do all of them. I can kind of go through them. Like, I knew that I wanted Tim Rozon to write one. He wrote The Gambler, which is, of course, the Wyatt Earp Calamity Jane episode with Brendan York. I thought it was really fun to kind of look back on Doc's past with Wyatt Earp and kind of juxtaposition what kind of a character Wyatt Earp was compared to how wild Wynonna is. So, and also just things like that became obvious to me as we did Audible was that you could do sequences you would never be able to afford on the show. So, for example, the train robbery was such a like classic Western trope. But then we could do it with just a couple of choo-choo sounds, it turns out, which is pretty amazing. $50,000 a pop, a train whistle. No, not quite. And then I love me some Danny fucking Kind. Is it too early to say fucking? You can bleep
Never.
wherever you are. So any chance I have to kind of talk more about her and her love life just seems so funny, and also kind of follow Jeremy a little bit and maybe have him make a different decision. We have so many iconic couples that I think it's also sometimes good to maybe talk about a relationship that is delightful, but maybe not soulmates, not going to make it.
Hmm.
I think the one I was least sure about was the plane, was Doc and Wynonna on the plane. But Shelley Scarrow, who I must give a shout out to because she really helped kind of usher all the audibles with me. She had worked for Audible before. She was very familiar with writing these kind of oral stories. Um, was like, it'll be really fun. It'll be really fun. I was like, is it weird to have Doc Wynonna on a plane? And she was like, no, that's what makes it so great. So once we kind of got around to the idea that Doc was going to be so high that he was going to feel comfortable landing the plane, I felt like sometimes all I need is one funny bit. And I'm like, okay, I'm sold. And then to be honest, like I think a lot of people's favorites are the really emotional ones. Kind of
Mm.
Nedley's backstory was so wonderful, getting to know about his love life, about the woman he lost, and talking about something as real as, dementia and senility in a world as kind of magical and mystical as Earp still is kind of always the magic sauce for Earp, is really kind of tackling those real issues and real feelings. And then, of course, you can't go wrong with a way hot what happened when Waverly was gone in the garden. So I feel like I knew those ones would be strong.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot there to dive into. One of the first things that comes to mind is the Nedley story and the
Mhm.
like just heartbreaking, revelation that Carol Nedley is not, she's fighting with dementia and, wow, that was very touched by that. Had you always thought of doing that with that character, or was that one of the like, okay, we have time, let's get into it, or was it something in the back of your mind like that's how we get kind of,
Yeah.
sideline that character?
I think I had checked. Often I know the backstory for a character, but if I'm being completely honest, I don't think I knew what the story of Nedley's wife slash Chrissy's mother was until we got to the audibles, right? Like I didn't know
Okay.
if he was a widower or he was divorced or she was still on the scene. So I think it was Kristen Hanley who wrote that, who I'm so proud of. She did an amazing job. I think we came up with the old folks home almost first, the idea like that Waverly was feeling a little unsettled and needed more to do. And then always you have to find kind of a deeper, more personal connection to an Earp story. So when we came up with the idea of this kind of joy demon that was sucking the memories out of people in an old folks home, I thought, well, we need someone who we think we can save. And that became kind of this delicious way to get to Nedley, who's so gruff, having this kind of burden and the thing that he has to deal with every day that maybe he doesn't share with the rest of the posse of dipshits, right? So,
Hmm.
and then you have to be delicate. I hope people thought we did it delicately. Again, it's really hard, right? It's an issue that millions of people are dealing with or will have to deal with people they love. So
Hmm.
that one took the most care, but in a weird way, it was also the most genuine, I think.
Hmm. And Nedley sings. It was so
He
sweet. What a
sings. So
lovely,
that is
lovely
one thing I had in my
song.
back pocket is I knew that Greg was a real crooner. He has a real, like, incredible Frank Sinatra voice. He's basically, the Sammy Davis Jr. of Alberta, I think, is generally what we think of him. So and it's always that's the joy of Earp over time, thanks to you guys, is anytime you can give an actor a chance to do something they wanted to do, it's such a privilege, right? Like I couldn't really think of another situation, although everyone keeps screaming for a musical episode. I'm very intimidated by them to get Greg, to get Nedley singing. So it was
Hmm.
just so delightful to know that he would be so happy that he got to perform. And he totally crushed it. So I can't wait for his album. When's his mixtape gonna drop?
Let us know. We'll be
Let us
there.
know. Let us know. Does he have any
Okay.
beef? Does he have any rap beef? We'll find out. We'll find out. Yeah. I expect he'll play the Super Bowl in a couple of years, and
I
we'll say
hope,
we knew him when. We knew him when.
God, I would love to see that.
I would love to see it too.
Um, okay, so The Gambler, and
Yeah.
I think we had a lot of people jump in and say that was their favorite episode of the
Good. Thank you
series of
guys.
the Audible. Um, I loved it as well, and you got to introduce Calamity Jane into
Yeah.
work Earp canon.
Yeah.
There's so many iconic Western figures. Why Calamity Jane? Was it something was she just always kind of I've always been fascinated by
Yeah.
that, by her. Was that something that you just always kind of wanted to kind of play around with?
Well, you know me, Kat. Anytime I have a chance to drop a woman in a sausage party and say, this is a pioneer, I will. I mean, I think the thing that is so fascinating about Calamity Jane is that she defined so many gender roles at the time
Mm-hmm.
and was so well respected by her fellow gunslingers and performers and what have you. Um, yeah, I think the other thing that was a little tricky about it is much like Doc Holliday, there's been some really iconic Calamity Jane performances, particularly Deadwood is one I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
So she was played by Joanne Boland, who's a very well-regarded Canadian actress. And I really love what Joanne did with it. She really made it her own. I kind of like that she had shades of Wynonna too, that she was a little bit playful, that she was a little bit, she was really meant as kind of, if Doc is in the middle of Wyatt and Calamity Jane, they're really supposed to be like ego and id, right? They're completely different. So that kind of fell into place that she would be the one who had no rules and lived by her own kind of like vibes, so to speak. And then Wyatt was very rigid and had very clear ideas of right and wrong, even if things weren't always that clear. So yeah, I just thought it's funny though. We have had another famous Calamity Jane, of course, the cat on the show. So you know we
Oh,
have to
right.
tread carefully, yes, but surely she'll get her own audible if we get more Calamity Jane: The Adventures
Would
of
she
Puss
come? I
in
mean, I
Boots.
feel like she's more likely to come back in Audible, right, than
Yeah,
the TV
probably,
series.
like in cat form. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, write this down,
Um,
Cat. Write this down. These are great.
this,
Oh,
this is all good. This is going to be a
oh.
pitch one day.
Okay, good.
Um, so let me just. I'm scrolling here. I've revealed my
Okay, how mad is the
cards.
chat?
I have notes. People are pretty excited.
I'm really happy
Suzanne
for you guys.
Suzanne wants a spin-off with Doc and Bobo. Who
Oh, I'd
doesn't?
love that. Done.
Um,
Get her
yeah,
done.
wow,
Okay.
that's so easy.
It was so easy. What else do you guys want?
I also did. I loved the plane. That was
Yeah.
such a great episode. But also, I love that Doc had a panic attack. I felt so
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah. I know. Are you not a good flyer?
I'm not. I mean, I'm not thrilled with it.
Well, the good news
But
is it's definitely a time to be flying. It definitely feels like,
oh yeah, super
yeah,
safe.
super. Just don't worry about it at all. No, I'm just
It
kidding.
was
Yeah.
when re-listening to it recently to prepare for this. I'm like, oh wow, this feels different
This
now than
this
it
is
did a few
triggering. I'm
months
so
ago.
sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, well, I think Doc is so fearless that it's fun to give him a vulnerability, right? But it's truly something he would just not understand how this massive, mighty pound thing is staying up in the air. And again, I think so much of our fear of flying is like you're not in control of it at all, right? You're really
Mhm.
surrendering to someone else. So,
And it
you
doesn't seem like it should work. It doesn't
know,
seem
no, it
like that
definitely doesn't.
big
I
heavy
mean,
thing
no,
should
I can't
fly.
do math or physics or engineering or anything, but I'm like, things that go up come down, right? I know it just seems very weird, but they fooled us all. Yeah.
Amazing. And yeah, I love that. Yeah, it was just a lot of
That was
fun.
such a
Of
classic
course,
Shelly and
Doc
Jane moment. Of
lands the
course he
plane.
does. Of course he does. All he needs is a little Dutch courage and he's good to go. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Um, but speaking of your cast, boy, they delivered in this. I'll
Yeah.
say, like, as soon as that first few moments of the Gambler started, it's like, oh, this is I can see it. I can
Oh,
see this
good.
in my mind. I can
Good.
see, because obviously we know these characters so well, but it really did feel very much like Earp.
Good.
Between your cast, they completely delivered. Between all the writing, the sound design was great.
Yeah, it was
Um,
incredible.
how hard was it for you to kind of step into this different medium? And I'm sure you it was very important to translate the show into Audible. Like,
Yeah.
did it come naturally? Was there like meetings about it? Like, how did you approach it as a producer?
Right. It did not come naturally. As much as I say I delayed for a year with Audible because I was trying to protect the visual medium, I also was scared shitless, to be totally honest, which I think is good as a writer. I say it a lot. Like, I think it's good when you care about something as much as I care about Earp to be like, I'm not sure how this is going to go.
Mm,
Look, I think so much of the beauty of Wynonna Earp is our incredible expressive cast, their faces, and even like on our small budget, I think we are kind of an action show. We've had a couple of sex scenes, like all of that. When you strip all that away, I was scared. You know, some we say in TV, and you would know this, Cat. It's show don't tell. Like you should be able to show what's happening with people without people just giving you a monologue. But this was completely the opposite. This was tell don't show. You have to
Hmm.
explain what is happening to the audience because they can't see it. But you want to make sure you're doing it in a way that isn't just like really dry exposition. You still want it to feel like Earp and be jokey and witty and in specific characters' voices. So again, I really want to give a shout out to Shelley Scarrow because she had done it before. She'd done a ton of audibles before. So once I kind of recruited her and said, "Can we do this together?" I knew it's like anything. It's the beauty of writing and television is it's collaborative. Once you know you have a teammate, I feel like
Mm.
we're both going down together, which is better. Um, or we're both sharing the glory together. But
Sure.
you know, I still would say I had to read it with a really critical eye. When I would get a first draft from another writer, you know, I remember I co-wrote a fun episode called Biscuits with Karina Samuels. And it was fun. I took a flyer on some new characters because I was like, oh, if anyone can do that, I'll try it. And that's fine. We'll see if it works or it doesn't. But you know, she had never written in the space either. And I remember she had stage directions in her first draft where it was like Wynonna
Mm.
nods knowingly. And I was like, well, we're not going to see that, right? All those kind of crutches that you just take for granted. Someone looks confused, someone raises an eyebrow. I'm like, well, how are you going to convey that? You can't, no one is reading the stage directions. So just the discipline you had to have to
Mm.
sort of go through it all. And I still miss stuff. And we had a great director called Casey Weiland who looked at it all and had done it so much that he was like, yeah, we can't do this, guys. But I think for the most part, it worked. I'm so happy the Earpers still loved it. You know, it's not that they felt like you said, thank you so much that you said it still felt like Earp to you. That's the
Hmm.
biggest compliment.
Sure. And it absolutely did. And speaking of biscuits, so we just have somebody who popped in that said London and Tess forever.
Yeah.
Is there a
Heart
chance that
fun heart. Yeah.
is there
Whatever. Yeah.
a chance that we see London and Tess in the TV series? Because
Yeah.
obviously
Well,
you're gonna get another season.
of course I am. Of course I am.
Would we
Can
see
I
them again?
imagine if I announced it right here? Just kidding. I'm being silly. That's not true, guys. Don't say that. We can't bully them that much. You can get the Bobo Doc spinoff, but yeah, I would love that. Like, I think that I'm very aware that you guys are very protective of the characters we have. You mostly want to live with the people we love. But if we're going to make this the Grey's Anatomy 25 years of Earp, yeah, it's always good to have some side characters. Um, and I just like that maybe they felt a little different than Nicole and Waverly. They just had a slightly different vibe. And I always love to dropping an outsider into Purgatory. That's what I loved
Mm.
about London is that she was like, what the hell is going on here? And how much the town with all its weirdness kind of wins you over. And so does Wynonna. I mean, I never get sick of seeing that. So
Sure.
yeah.
So it sounds like
Don't see them.
maybe is there a possibility for more Audible in the future?
I would love that. I think Audible, as always, was so impressed with you guys. I think the stories did really well for Audible. I kept seeing them on best of lists. You know, they took us to New York Comic Con. They threw a big party. Tons of Earpers showed up. You know, it's funny. Like it's the same as like the metrics for a successful book are so different than the metrics for a successful movie or television show. But I think we did do really well. And I, you know, I figure it's just like some spare change in Jeff Bezos's couch. Surely he can give us $5 to make some more. But I would love to.
Literally.
I just and now I'm intrigued, and I, you know, I think it would be fun to think outside the box. And I don't even mind like people in the chat being like, "Oh, I'd love to see this, and I'd love to see that." It
Mm.
almost feels like um, endorsed fan fiction in the best way. Do you know what I mean? Like almost a chance to like again tell those stories that are still canon, but with a little bit of a wink and a nod. So I definitely think there's a chance to do more. And we'll just keep yelling at Audible. We know where they are.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move out of Audible for a little bit.
Okay.
Um, so at the end of season one, you put Nicole in a bulletproof vest. You literally made her
I did.
bulletproof.
I did.
And you know, because there was this epidemic of bury your gays going on in television at that time,
Mhm.
you kind of you gave Earpers a heads up, like, hey, it's going to be
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, that was
Um,
crazy.
and so, you know, you asked us to trust you, and we certainly have. But in doing that, have you given Nicole and Waverly a bit of plot armor in a way? And
Ooh.
is that restricting in your storytelling at all?
I mean, yes, if I'm being honest, although I'm sure there's some people in the chat here who can give me an exact tally of the times I've beaten the shit out of Nicole and Waverly. I mean, is it really a Wynonna Earp trailer if we don't hear Waverly scream Wynona's name in anguish? Um,
And Nicole
but
gets
they go,
thrown against a wall or
yeah, of
something?
course, of course. Like, they go through a lot of Advil, I think. I mean, they all have some plot armor. Yes, I would say so, but it's such a fine line. I've said this before. In a perfect world, you want to represent both women and the LGBTQ plus community in a myriad of characterizations, right? Like in my dream scenario, it would be amazing to have a Hannibal Lecter character who's bisexual or trans, but the problem is we are still not there yet where we have enough representation across the board to be able to kind of color all the colors of the rainbow, which is unfortunate. And I'm fighting that every day. Um, but there's still so many chances to give and inspire drama through Waverly and Nicole's relationship. People had mixed emotions about what happened in Vengeance, for example. Who needs plot armor when, like, people, they're going to go through trouble in their relationship and challenges. And I think that's very real. I worry more about it, maybe not so much with Earp, but going forward on future projects, if that makes sense. Like, I want
Mm-hmm.
to continue to fill my world with female characters or people who identify as female or LGBTQ plus, but I don't want you to always know that this character is this just because of how they identify or their
Right.
sexuality or what have you. So I hope we burst that open still going forward, and that you are able to tell the stories of the most fabulous gay queer villains, and people can die and death is a part of life and what have you. But Waverly and Nicole, I can't help them. I'm as protective of them as anyone. So what are you gonna do?
I
But
think
you
it's
know
a
what,
fair.
Kat? You said it. If you want me to fuck one of them up, that's fine. She
No,
came here
no,
on
hold
the
on.
channel to ask for
Wait.
it. Cat Crimins,
No,
everybody.
let's roll that tape back. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know that that's how I
Yeah,
said
yeah,
it.
yeah. She demanded
Okay.
it. She demanded it. It was public. It was public. It was a public demand. What am I going to
Oh, I'm
do?
so sorry, Emily. Your Zoom is cutting out. I think we
Yeah,
have
yeah,
to
exactly.
how do I
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
so
exactly. How do you mute someone
speaking
else? Yeah.
speaking of that responsibility, do you remember this thing called Twitter?
Yes, I do. Oh,
So
I
I
miss
haven't
it so much. I'm so mad
I
it was taken
know.
away from me.
I know it sucks. Well, I'm
I know.
gonna
I really, and I miss you guys on it. Yeah.
I found a tweet. I've actually had
Uh-oh.
this tweet in my back pocket for some time.
Oh God.
It's actually almost a year ago today, which is kind of
Wow.
wild. That was an accident, but you were responding to something. This is a response that you wrote, and I'm just going to read this real
Did I
quickly and then
delete it?
ask you.
No, just kidding.
You know what?
You should.
Maybe? No, I don't think you did.
No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
No, no, no. The fact that what came out of my head made sense to other people, made them feel seen, and even made them feel joy, that completely changed the way I view my own writing, my career, and my responsibility to an audience. So, what is that responsibility that you feel, Emily, and how does that affect your career choices?
Hmm. Oh man, that's so profound. I mean, it made me feel less alone. And isn't that what great art does? Not to say Earp is great art or be super obnoxious, but like it made me feel less alone the way it
Mhm.
hopefully made you guys feel less alone, right? That I had these feelings and I had these stories that I wanted to tell that I had never seen before. And then to see the response, it made me braver, I think, in my storytelling. But it also made me more sure about the boundaries I would set on my own compromises. Does that make sense? Like going forward, regardless of what political environment we are in, I am not going to create a character who is queer and then have some producer 6 months later say, but what if they weren't? Do you know what I mean? Like, I just know more than ever what my lines in the sand are, that I am just hopefully never going to do bury your gays in that manner, at least in a way that is like punishing someone for their sexuality or their choices. Um, so, and also I feel a responsibility for you guys because you have supported us all through thick and thin. Do you know what I mean? Like you've come through us, come with us through Earp. So I feel like whatever I'm lucky enough to do next, whether it's more Earp or something else, I will always have you guys in mind about what matters to you and what you want to see. And the vibes and the feelings, but also maybe that you trust me, that I can try some stuff, that I can be bold. But just more than ever, like I feel I just am never going to stop pushing for more representation on screen. I think I don't really care how the mandates ebb and flow, how things get more conservative or less conservative. I know what works for me and what works for the audience that I love. So, but it's a privilege. It's a privilege for sure. I feel so lucky. I feel so lucky to have written at a time like 2016 to 2025 with Earp. It just couldn't have happened at any other time, you know? Even just thinking about the bulletproof vest, like we just did that before we knew what a terrible year 2016 was going to be. So even though it was a really odd and maybe dangerous choice to kind of spoil the ending, which was like, she's not going to die. Thank God we had the chance to do it, and it didn't compromise our audience at all. If anything, it kind of let us all be on the bus and go on the ride. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's a good quote. Are we sure I wrote that? Check it out.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, all right.
I'll send it to you if you want to
Okay,
verify.
thank you. That's nice.
So speaking of moving forward and ERP and non-ERP projects, what can you tell us what's coming in the Andras world in 2025? What
Oh,
can you talk about, if
I
anything?
mean, I'm constantly busy. I'm pitching something with Sony. I have something at Universal. I have something at Warner Brothers. I have no idea if I'm ever allowed to tell anyone this, but I just say it. It's whatever. It's friendship. Yeah, I have a ton of projects in development, and I'm basically phoning 1-800-2B every morning at 9 a.m. and I'm being like, let's go, guys. What's the holdup? So, you know, I'll be honest, and Kat, nobody would know this more than you, but it's been kind of a rough time in general in the industry. Like there's kind of been a triple whammy, which is there was COVID, and then there was the writers and crew strike, and then the entire city of LA was on fire in January, which was awful. So I'm going to be honest, it's a little bit, there's been a little bit of shrinkage. It feels like Hollywood has been going through a little bit of a pre-recession. So lots of crews struggling, God bless. So I'm very lucky that I have tons in development. And, you know, guys, just in anticipation of this weekend, I was looking at the very first draft of the first pilot I wrote for Earp, and it was 2012. Like, and then we didn't debut till 2016, I don't believe. So just, I know people are always like, where is more stuff coming? But things taking this long in development is not unusual. It just takes a long time for big conglomerates to make decisions, right? But I'm very hopeful it will be a year of Andras and a year of more Earp and a year of Cat Crimins.
From
Let's
your
put that,
your
let's put
lips.
that in the universe. Yeah.
I love that. I more of me. That's all that this fandom needs.
Yeah. With your brutal
Okay.
with your brutal way hot agenda. But you know,
Again, I think you misunderstood that
No, I
question.
know. I'm just teasing you. I'm just teasing.
Of course. I have two really quick questions before I want to get at least one of these questions from our
Yeah.
chatters, but really quickly, I have two quick questions and you have to answer them very quickly.
Okay.
Who's your favorite facts of life girl?
Joe.
Good answer. I mean, how
Like,
could you not say Joe?
no, just like the sexual tension. I just like,
Right?
yeah, I love her.
The
Yeah.
best.
Just
Okay.
like I felt seen by Joe. I was like, oh my God. I
I
was
think
never as cool as Joe. I had more of a bowl cut and braces, but Joe, for sure. Who's yours?
did you
Mrs.
Joe?
Garrett? Mrs. Garrett.
Mrs.
Real
G.
Mrs. Garrett stand. I see your Golden Girls in the background. I'm not saying you have a
Listen,
type cat, but it's
I
fine.
do like an older lady.
Yeah, who doesn't like an older lady? Yeah.
And will they ever find money in the money pit
Oh
on
my
Oak
God.
Island?
My poor family. They are so deep on Oak Island. We've gone through Knights of Templar. I don't think so. I think the money is the series. I think the money is the friends they went along the way. But I really enjoy all those guys. I find them quite delightful. I've been to Oak Island. So
You have
yeah,
not been to Oak
I
Island.
have. I have. It was before my son really got into it, which is too bad because now he's kind of hardcore. But okay, so here's a more cynical question. Do you think they just drop stuff for the series and they're like, oh, we found a nail?
Emily, how dare you?
Okay, how dare you
You-
accuse them of planting things?
Are
Planting evidence?
you're questioning the integrity of the Fellowship of the Dig?
Oh no, I would never. I would never. Okay,
I
apologize. I
hope your
apologize.
son doesn't hear
That's
this.
Canadian royalty too. Like I might get my citizenship stripped. So I mean, I want them to find it, but we'll be so sad when it's over.
It's true. And I think you're
Yeah.
right. At this point, I think
No.
the money they're getting from the show is probably
Oh
better
yeah, and
than
there's
all the
tours.
buttons they find.
I think that farmer a million years ago found it and was like, "Well, I'm getting myself a great suit." Yeah, exactly. That's my feeling.
Okay, let's get to a couple questions that people had submitted earlier this week. Let's
Okay.
see.
What the hell's your
Um,
problem, Emily?
okay, Chris writes, if you had unlimited money and could write anything right now, what would you make? Favorite book, a play, TV show revival, what would you do?
Uh, I have a project that I really love with Lily Wachowski called Cosmonites, which is based on an
Yes.
incredible comic book that you should all see. It's
So
basically
cool.
gay Star Wars. It's like Hunger Games meets Gladiator meets Star Wars. I would sink so much money and make it so gay with so many gay lasers. You would just be like, this is a little too
Yeah,
gay even for me. I would have so much fun. I would,
lasers.
yeah. So if I could just fund something right now, I feel like it would
Awesome.
be such a delicious FU to the world. It's such a celebration of the type of heroes I want to see. So just selfishly, that's a project that I would love to just take some Squid Game money and dump into it. But I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say no to a fifth season of Earp either, guys. Don't worry. On the side.
But I think selfishly, I think a lot of people would love to see that project.
Uh-huh.
And working with Lily, like,
Yeah, she is amazing. She's such a visionary. She's so smart. She's so much smarter than me. I just get sweaty, but she's also like the nicest. She's Midwestern nice. Yeah, that's a project that I just think it would do really well. And it would feel like I just would love to do a really big space opera with like big set pieces and big gay feelings, big female
incredible.
feelings. So and there's an amazing trans character in it that I think would just maybe change hearts and minds, right? I think if you see it, you
Incredible.
believe it. So that's just selfishly, if I find the Oak Island treasure, there will be signs. There will be signs. You won't know, but there will be signs.
Cha-ching.
Yeah.
And okay, speaking of Lily, and she co-wrote and co-directed the classic Bound from the
Yes.
90s.
Yep.
Who's your favorite, Corky or Violet?
Maybe Violet, because I think she's a little more smooth. Like I think she's kind of maybe more of a survivor. You don't think so at
Mm,
first, but like if I
100%.
ever met Gina Gershon, I would just be like completely tongue-tied. So yeah, I don't know. Who's your favorite? Mrs. Garrett
Uh,
again? Weird. It's so weird. You keep
yeah.
coming back to Mrs. Garrett. Yeah.
Listen, I'm sorry. I stand Mrs. Garrett.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna try to get one more question in here from that was submitted earlier.
Okay.
Let's go with okay, so Rhonda asks,
Yeah.
as a writer showrunner who creates super gay projects and understands how much representation matters, how do you think the current climate is going to affect having these kinds of projects commissioned, including Wynonna, and what can we do to help
Mhm.
influence things?
Um, I'm feeling optimistic because I'm so happy to see you all this weekend. I really needed it. And I know the current climate is kind of bum, for lack of a more sophisticated term. I feel positive in this way. The industry just wants to make money. And I think, given what is happening in the current climate, there is going to be a hunger for shows that speak to rebellion and revolution and underdogs. When COVID happened, everybody was like, all people are going to want is shows that make you feel good and are fluffy. And then the biggest show that year was Squid Game, which is basically like a treatise on capitalism, right? So it's going to take some bold decision makers at the top, but just wait 6 months. I think you will find that what people crave in their art is going to be about survival and carving your own path and being
Mm.
seen and refusing to be erased. Like what's that quote about Italy? They created a ton of amazing art, right? And all Switzerland ever created was the cuckoo clock. Just kidding, Switzerland. I know some of you are here. You created amazing things. Like, it's an awful thing to say bad times make great art. It's an awful thing
Mhm.
to say that when you're talking about people's lives. But I think people are going to crave shows like Andor, shows like Squid Game, shows about fighting a power. And I think
Mhm.
smart executives are going to capitalize on that, particularly with women. That's what I think.
Mhm.
And that is the train I'm riding every day I show up to pitch something. So just tell people you like me and you want to hear more, and keep yelling at Tubi and Audible that you want more Earp.
Okay, so we'll
That's
keep.
that's my positive take.
I think that's a great way to end this panel, but also as a reminder that we need to keep letting Audible and Tubi know that we're
Yeah.
here and that we're watching and that we want more of it. So thank you for reminding us
Yeah.
of that.
Vote with your dollars, vote with your eyeballs, vote with your ear holes now for Audible. So that's how you do. You keep showing up for the things you love. All right.
Okay,
And you
I think
guys
we
always
can do
do for
that.
us. So thank you.
Emily, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Kat.
I
Oh,
know
it's
you
so
have,
early for you. Thank you for being up
yeah,
so early.
of course, for you, Emily,
Oh my
anything.
God. Go have
And
a Facts of Life marathon this
and
afternoon. You earned it.
and now everybody gets to go and have a day full of Emily. I know you have a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff,
Come
a
and
bunch
talk
of
to me
people
or
you're
let
going
me
to
kick
talk
your
to.
ass in the games. Yeah.
Um,
Fun.
and just as a reminder to everybody, next week we have the Cat and Dom panel. Knox still has
Ooh.
stuff available, so you need to, you want some Knox in your life, so
Yeah.
please,
Knox is a
please,
hoot. You might want to Knox it up.
and yeah, we'll have a Knox and Mel panel, which is going to be fun. We have a lot of
Ooh,
a
that's
lot
going
of
to be
fun stuff
chaos.
planned. Oh my God, I can't wait. I'm just going to show up. I don't need to really do much.
Oh my God.
Um,
Oh, it'll be great. You
so
gotta
yeah.
do crowd control there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So again, thank you, Emily, so much. Thank you, everybody who's watching and chatting in. And yeah, hopefully we
Yeah.
get to
Thank
see
you,
you again
EarpConic,
soon.
for doing this. It's so lovely to see you all, especially those of you who I haven't met before, we can't see. So it's great to see everybody. Bye. Thanks, Kat.
Thanks, Emily. Bye, everybody.